brought to you by Defiance Press. I'm John Griffing.
And I'm Ron Meyer.
And we have a great show for you today. All right, we're back. We have Misty Boyd with us, author of Carissa's Law, a book that explains why parents should choose life. Welcome, Misty.
Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, we're doing great here. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Listen, you've written this new book, Carissa's Law, and it appears to tell a story of two parents that are having to decide whether or not to have a kid who has got significant problems, birth defects, maybe health issues, and a lot of folks are choosing abortion now as a corrective step to avoid that scenario. Please tell us more.
Actually, Carissa's Law is a fictionalized rendition of my own personal story.
Wow.
My parents were given the same option that Carissa's parents were given in the book. I was born with a birth defect called spina bifida. It was not caught on ultrasound, where an abortion would have been offered, but instead it was caught upon my birth, and my parents were given the option to withhold feeding and allow what they called a natural death.
Oh,
but
that's awful.
I tend to disagree with the term natural death when it comes to not feeding our children.
Yeah, that's definitely not natural. That's not natural selection. That's unnatural selection. Please go ahead and also discuss, if you would, the idea of using abortion to choose your child's genetics. We had Charlie Gard in the UK face this scenario recently. Apparently, Washington Post says 60% of all Down syndrome babies are aborted in the U.S. Please talk about that.
The Charlie Gard situation, it ripped my heart out, because we are not God. We should not choose to. We shouldn't be allowed to choose who lives or who dies. That's his job to do. We shouldn't have any hand in that whatsoever. If you find yourself in the situation where you're pregnant with any child, it's not your choice to decide whether that child should live or die. That's up to God, and we should definitely be leaving that to Him.
Okay, and it's a perspective shared by a good many people. So you're saying that it's not her body, that there's another body inside her that has rights, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes. I've
guessing
heard
you're
the
not
argument.
Pro-choice, then.
No, not.
Well, good.
Not even a little bit.
All right. Well, this would then, of course, be a pro-life book with a pro-life message. What do you want people to take away when they read Carissa's Law?
Well, I wrote it because I see a lot of stigma around, even in the pro-life communities. You can kind of push somebody when you say, well, what if the baby was going to suffer, or what if it was going to be sick, or, things like that. And even the pro-lifers sometimes will kind of back up and go, oh, well, I don't want any babies to suffer. But my opinion on the matter is, I was born with one of these suffering birth defects, and I've never met a single person on the planet who hasn't suffered.
Well, tell me,
So,
do ultrasounds catch your condition, or would that be missed if parents were trying to rely on ultrasounds to make that choice?
they catch it now.
Okay.
Back in 1983, when I was born, it wasn't caught so easily because technology was different, but it's caught way more often now.
But even more reason to exercise caution and err on the side of life rather than convenience or genetic preference.
Absolutely.
Well, how have people reacted to your book, Misty? I mean, have you gotten positive feedback?
Absolutely. I've sent it out to several people within the spina bifida community, and they're all rallying behind me, and they're saying, yes, this is what we want to tell the world. And people even outside of the spina bifida community are having their eyes opened to the world of disability and how good it can actually be to live with a disability, and how we don't have to abort these people, because quality life can be found even within a disability.
And do you think, this is often talked about as a slippery slope. I mean, I look at Holland, the Netherlands, and they've just recently legalized post-birth termination, so infanticide, essentially, not even partial birth. We're talking like the baby's born, it's breathing, it's kicking, and they make a determination now in the Netherlands about its potential quality of life. And that's the choice that your folks were given. Talk more about that.
Well, all I can really say is you cannot know what a person's quality of life will be, and that is not your decision to make. That decision and that opinion can only be formed by the person living in the body that you are trying to commit infanticide against.
Well, of course,
a baby cannot tell you.
Can't exercise, discretion, and that's why that's why this is such an emotional issue for people. Is that this is a human fetus that can indeed feel pain, doctors believe, after 20 weeks, and that's when a number of these choices are made.
Right.
Well,
I believe that at 20 weeks, you have probably already decided that you wanted a baby, because it's very, very easy to get an abortion before that point.
Oh, I mean, would you say that they market it to women now? It doesn't seem like they're doing many mammograms, in fact.
Yeah, I've heard over and over and over that abortion was not only offered in the case of spina bifida, but, like you said, marketed as the merciful thing to do. This is what you should do.
And it's
bringing this life
funded.
into the world is just,
It's taxpayer funded, which violates Roe v. Wade, but separate topic for another day. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners about your book?
Well, I'd like to tell you where you can find it. I can be found on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Wonderful.
So if you want to check it out.
All right, you heard that, folks. Check your book out at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Misty, thanks so much for being on the show.
No problem.
All right, we'll be back in a minute, folks.